Welcome to the Explainer. All right, today we're going to break down Stellar, also known as XLM. Now, this is a crypto that's been around for a long time, but it's one of those that a lot of people just don't quite get. I mean, with literally thousands of cryptocurrencies floating around, it is so easy to just get lost in all the noise and the hype, right? So, what's the deal with XLM? What is it really about? That's what we're here to figure out. Is Stellar just another speculative coin you see flying around? Or is it something more? Is it quietly in the background building something with real lasting value? Okay, let's just dive right in. All right, first things first. Before we even think about price charts and all that, let's get down to basics. What was Stellar actually built to do? So many cryptos feel like a solution that's desperately searching for a problem, but Stellar, it's different. From day one, it has had this laser-focused mission. It's all about solving a very real problem. How do you move money across borders quickly and, more importantly, cheaply, especially for everyday people and in developing markets? Okay, so now let's build the bull case. Why would an investor get excited about XLM's future? What are the big strengths here? What's the argument for being optimistic? So let's pop the hood and see what's powering this thing. Stellar doesn't do that super energy-intensive mining like Bitcoin. Nope. It uses something called the Stellar Consensus Protocol, and it's built for one thing and one thing only: efficiency. The best way to think about it is like a small network of trusted friends who can all agree on something really fast. And the result? Transactions are final in just 3 to 5 seconds, and the fee? It's basically nothing. We're talking fractions of a cent. And here's where it gets real. This isn't some theoretical use case or a pilot program. No, this is a live, working service that's been running for 3 years. Stellar is the actual backbone for MoneyGram's cash-to-crypto service. This means people in over 170 countries can walk into a MoneyGram and turn their digital dollars into local cash, all powered by Stellar. That's huge. And if that wasn't enough, check this out. We're talking about Franklin Templeton, a financial giant managing over $1 trillion. When they decided to launch the very first US-registered mutual fund on a public blockchain, guess which one they chose? Yep, they chose Stellar. Their nearly $500 million tokenized fund runs on this network. That is a massive vote of confidence. It signals a huge level of trust and reliability. Okay, this next one is a really, really big deal. You can't overstate this. For years, XLM was just kind of stuck in this regulatory gray zone. But this joint ruling from the SEC and the CFTC, it completely removes that uncertainty. It officially puts XLM in the same legal bucket as Bitcoin and Ethereum. And what does that mean? It basically paves the way for much wider institutional adoption. And yeah, maybe even a spot ETF down the line. But hang on, a smart investor always looks at both sides. That bull case sounds pretty compelling, right? But it's not the whole story, not by a long shot. So now it's time for a dose of reality. Let's dig into the bear case and look at the very real risks that come with XLM. No, this is the part a lot of people tend to gloss over, but it is absolutely critical to understand. Make no mistake, XLM is a high-risk, super volatile asset. The risks here are no joke. We're talking everything from fierce competition to the entire crypto market just taking a nosedive, all the way to the simple risk that the project doesn't deliver or that investors just get bored and chase the next shiny object. And speaking of competition, you can't talk about Stellar without talking about its biggest rival, XRP. This comparison is so important because they both came from the same co-founder, but they've gone down completely different paths. Here's a simple way to think about it. XRP is building the massive superhighway for big banks. Stellar, on the other hand, is building all the local roads and streets for everyday people. See the difference? They can both succeed for sure, but they are playing totally different games. And this quote, this really nails the mindset you need. If you're going to jump into something as volatile as crypto, you have got to be mentally prepared for the big swings, for the drawdowns. Losing money isn't just a possibility. It's practically guaranteed at some point. It's like paying tuition to learn how these markets really work. Okay, so we've got the bull case and the bear case. With all that in mind, how should we even begin to think about XLM's price? And what about all those wild price predictions you see everywhere online? So you'll probably see headlines screaming about some short-term signal, like a golden cross, and there will be all this excitement about a price jump. But you have to zoom out. Don't get caught up in the day-to-day noise. These little blips on the radar are part of a much, much bigger and way more volatile picture. And when you do zoom out, that bigger picture is a pretty brutal reminder of how volatile altcoins can be. Even with all those amazing partnerships and its clear use case, the price of XLM has, well, it's really underperformed. I mean, it's still trading more than 80% below its peak from way back in 2018. It's been through some deep, long drawdowns. And this is the key takeaway. Real-world adoption has not automatically meant a higher price. So, we've laid out the exciting bull case, and then we've hit you with the sobering reality of the risks and the price history. Where does that leave you? Look, this isn't me telling you to buy or sell. Absolutely not. This is about giving you a framework, a way of thinking, so you can make your own informed decision. Now, if you do decide to invest, the actual process of buying is the easy part. It's pretty straightforward. The hard work, the real work, isn't following these steps. It's what you do before you even get to this point. You have to decide on your own thesis. Are you betting on that quiet workhorse idea we talked about? Do you truly believe that its real-world use will eventually show up in its price? Answering that question, that's step 0. And please, whatever you do, do not forget about taxes. Seriously. In the US, pretty much any time you sell your XLM for cash, or swap it for another crypto, or even spend it on something, bam, that's likely a taxable event. So keeping clean, detailed records right from the very beginning is not optional. It's absolutely non-negotiable. So at the end of the day, instead of chasing some random price prediction on social media, you can use these questions right here to build your own solid investment thesis. What you're really asking is the network actually being used? Are people still building on it? Is it staying relevant in this crazy, fast-moving market? And maybe most important of all, is my position size smart for such a high-risk asset? You know, knowing what would prove your thesis wrong is just as important as knowing why you think you might be right. And that, right there, is the big dilemma for any investor looking at Stellar. In a market that is so often driven by nothing more than speculation, hype, and the story of the day, does the quiet, consistent, real-world progress actually win in the long run? That's the billion-dollar question, and it's one you have to answer for yourself.